Einen schönen guten Morgen, meine Damen und Herren. Es freut mich sehr, dass wir heute Kaffee mit Dr. Rainer Schamberger trinken können. Rainer, herzlich willkommen.
Guten Morgen von meiner Seite. Dobro došli. By the way, oprostite, ne govorim nemština.
Would you like us to continue in English? You think that would be better?
I think it's better.
So no German, no Slovenian, English. So
let's meet in the middle.
In the middle, so English. Good morning, coffee lovers, and good morning, everyone who is secretly drinking tea right now. It's a lovely sunny morning here in Ljubljana. I've been up since 5 in the morning because I have a almost 2-year-old toddler, and he likes to stay up late and get up early in the morning. Now, Rainer, before we dig into today's topic of smooth customer journey through the world of digital interactions and digital transactions, I hear you're in Austria right now, near Salzburg. Do you think that working remote like this would have been as easy 2 or 3 years ago as it is now? How's the experience?
Yeah, principally, it's very exciting because you can work anywhere you want. But unfortunately, at the rural areas, the bandwidth, the internet is not so exciting, and I have to apologize if I'm breaking up sometimes. Maybe this is a matter of the infrastructure. So, and now we're anyway in the middle of the topic because, we are talking about digitalization everywhere, and we have still a big difference between the cities and the rural areas. And now I moved after 35 years living in Vienna. I moved to the rural area in my old age now, and
very old age.
Yes, and that's so. But I like it to work from here because it's now much more convenient to work 24 hours and not driving to the office.
Yeah, it would be quite a long drive every day, right? Commuting 3
You're
hours
right.
each way.
You're right, yeah.
When was the last time you were here in Ljubljana?
In fact, it was in December because the issue is of the lockdown. That's not so easy to travel around at the moment. And at the moment we have 12 hours where I can stay there, and I have to have a PCR test. So it's but we are much more productive anyway. We are doing much more meetings and video, and I'm all the time online. This is.
And you need a good internet connection. Now, to all of you drinking coffee with us today, please participate, join the conversation. You have options in chat or Q&A. Just write down your questions and we'll try to get to them. We're especially interested in practical examples in stories you might have where everyday digital processes have gone wrong for you. Now, Rainer, one of the ideas, and we've been talking about this previously, that is on your agenda is how to make the customer journey through the world of digital, as I said, transactions and interactions smoother, faster, better. Can you give us your personal vision of this? Can you share why this is a passion project for you?
Yeah, first of all, as I have a background in IT, and I'm dealing with IT architecture since already 30 years already, and I am a fan of end-to-end processes, and when we talk about digitalization, we have to always look about two topics. First of all, it should be end-to-end, and it should be always an advantage for a consumer, because otherwise, if it doesn't bring any advantage, it doesn't make sense. How to say, this is the one topic. The second topic is that digitalization itself, we are in Europe are very fragmented. And first of all, digitalization doesn't end at borders, where I always stated. And secondly, digitalization doesn't end at industry borders. We have to break up the industry silos as well, because we're still thinking, and especially around our region, in these categories. We have banks, we have retailers, we have insurances, and the customer doesn't care. The customer has a wish, and I, as a consumer, first of all, I want to have an information. When I have something, I want to buy something, I need information, or if I have a relocation or something, I have to give someone the information. That means that, first of all, the relevant data has to be on the relevant place. That's the first topic, and we are living in a in a wave of data, but we cannot focus on the right data. So this is the first topic. Secondly, I have to have the right touch point, because if I'm talking from the banks, how often do I visit a branch anymore? It doesn't make sense at the end of the day. So I am informing myself. I'm my second life, for example, musician. I'm informing myself in music forums or communities. Yeah. And when I have done a wish, maybe I want to buy something, maybe I need some financing, whatever, I can come slightly to the payment, to the banking stuff and all these topics. So that means the touch points from them a little bit more away. So that means I have to have a comprehensive experience where I want to have everything on the table, where what I need, and then I want to buy, and the payment should be invisible. We call it embedded. Due to my wish. If we come to the payment, we in principle, we are always discussing about, is it a card payment, is it a real-time payment? I want to pay, and when I want to pay, I want to pay immediately, and if I want to get money, I want to have it immediately on my account. That's my first.
If I touch upon that, but does it really work that way? And what are you guys at Banca doing about this? Because for me as a user, if it's not simple, it doesn't bring me value. If it's not fast, I'm not interested.
Exactly.
I myself, I like digital stuff. I like new stuff. Yeah. But again, I always look at it from a perspective, does it bring me value? Am I going to do it faster? Am I going to do it smoother? Then I do it. If I have to download a bunch of stuff and go through hoops, jump through hoops and go through processes, I'm not interested anymore. You lost me. What are you?
Fully understand. We try to facilitate these processes for our clients. We are not a B2C company. We are a B2B company, and our primary customers are the banks, and we try to provide the whole customer journey. So it starts on the digital journey, if we talk about the digital journey, from the digital identification. And we have also just recently bought shares in the company Recono, where we provide the digital identity, and this digital onboarding, it starts with this, and if you talk about the user experience, of course, I as a user don't want to have 15 digital identities. I want to have one which I could use at the retailer, at an insurance, or the bank. So this is the first topic. Secondly, it's the payment. The payment, as I said, should be invisible, and I only have the wish to pay either immediately, later, maybe with my credit card or whatever, or prior, before. So that means I can upload an account, stored value account, and then I can pay with this. And at the end of the day, I want to have a digital receipt. And this is also where we have invested in a company called Finvo Green, where we provide digital receipts. Because if you look at the experience at our shops, at the end of the day, when you pay, you get a payment slip, and this payment slip is immediately thrown in the basket. Normally, usually. So, and this
before you leave the store,
even before you leave the store. It lies on the ground, and that is not even from an economical perspective. This is not contemporary anymore. But by the way, it was just yesterday announced that there will be maybe a law change in Slovenia due to this, that it's not obligatory anymore to have these payment slips or these bonds, because this would be, if you can have it on a digital way, this is the way it should work, and it's much.
Because right now, if I'm not mistaken, you need to take it from the register, because somebody can stop you outside, and if you don't have it, you pay a fine. Plus, with this digital receipts, it's not just what you bought. Then you have like another 30-40 centimeters of advertisement.
Exactly. This
waste
is also,
of paper, right?
This is also a use case. Look at this, how we do our household planning. I think I do it on my piece of paper. Sometimes when I write something, some others do it maybe in an Excel sheet. Some people don't do it at all. And this would be a very easy use case for a retailer, for a bank, to provide this data in an aggregated way, where you can then see, because they know all your transactions. The bank knows everything more or less. If you look at the transaction history, so you could provide something in advantage in favor of the customer, for example, and this would save time. This would help the ecological topic, and it would even be more precise, because they also can help you maybe when you need something, and you don't have to explain it all the time. Another use case is I'm just in the middle of relocation, and you can imagine how many touch points you have to explain that you have a new address. And when you call the bank, for example, I normally don't get my account manager on the phone, so I'm waiting then in a queue, and the voice on the queue says then, yes, we will call you back, and usually you will not be called back. So and then but in fact they know exactly what my wish is, and I don't have to explain it all the time. So these are some use cases which are obvious on the table, and this we could maybe very easily solve.
We have in the Q&A, we have a couple of questions. Somebody was posted anonymously, so I don't know who it is, but the question is, digital transaction, what is more important, that it is fast, smooth, or safe?
That's
ideally all three, right?
Exactly. First of all, the point is, you should, we as a bankcard are a trusted entity, and we are supervised by the Bank of Slovenia. We have to adopt the highest security standards. So this should be always underlying, because if we deal with digital transactions, we deal also with data, customer data, and this data should be safe. That's clear. But on the other hand, if you look at the use case, and we always have to compare ourselves with the Apples, with the Facebooks, with the Googles, and they are investing heavily money in the best user experience. And this is, if you don't have a good user experience, then usually you as a user, you don't like this use case, so, and you will not adopt to it. So it's and this is crucial to adopt. But if you adopt once and you have then the experience that it's not safe or not working, then you will leave it also. So it's a combination of all the three of them. And on the other hand, when we talk about the safety, we have to also talking about the level playing field, the so-called, in Europe, because we in Europe, we tend to be over safe. Our European Central Bank, our central banks are adopting high standards, but then others come in. And when we talk about GDPR, for example, we rely on the highest standards on GDPR. But if someone else comes in, like Google, Facebook, and co, they even they don't care, and you have to push a button, and you don't even know what you're accepting. So this level playing field, we have to look at also.
I mean, Rainer, you actually do, but if you read the fine print, if you read the terms and conditions, but who does that?
Exactly. But here we have to also be careful that we don't hide behind GDPR, because GDPR could also be something in favor of the customer. Because if I, as a consumer, want to have an advantage, and I allow you to provide my data, which you already have, for example, my bank has all my data from the transactions. They know more or less everything what I do, and therefore, if I want this, and I say, okay, this would be okay for me, they could do it. So and we tend in Europe always to be much more saver, much more discussing all these topics and hide behind. We have to use it proactively in favor of the consumers. Otherwise, the colleagues from Asia and the colleagues from US will fly around with us left and right, and this is the reality at the moment.
And what are some of the legal issues that would help you, if they were resolved, to do your work better in the region? So, or you can maybe focus only on Slovenia. What would you need changed so you could work faster, work better, give us a better experience in the world of digital transactions?
What we experience in the banking field and is, for example, that we have to tend the highest levels, and it's not even allowed to digital to fully digital on board as a consumer and to even get fully a loan on, for example. Yeah, but I don't want to, that's what I experience as a user. I don't want to speak for the banks, but the Bank of Slovenia has here really high standards. But if someone comes in like N26 or other companies, they passport their license from the EU, and they tend to do these things already. So here is an unbalanced playing field, and this we should really speed up to create equal rights for everyone, because then they can be much more facilitating the user experience with lower level of security, lower level of credentials, and then it's not a level playing field anymore. Yeah, and then when the consumer is already there, and for example N26, they have already 200,000 consumers in Slovenia, and of course they're providing a good user experience. So this is an issue. So the banking community has to have the same rights.
I agree that it's an issue, because from the viewpoint of a user, me, for example, when I opened my N26 account, happened in 10-15 minutes. Somebody video called me, I showed them my ID card and everything. And if I compare it to my experience from a Slovenian bank from like last week, it's really crazy. I get an email from my personal banker, and she says, Mr. Buch, you need to come in by the end of June because we need to check your personal data. And I answered, what personal data? Just ask me what you need. My tax number is the same, my address is the same, my birthday is the same, can't change. And I got another email. No, you need to come in because we need to check your personal data. And then I got upset and I said, what do you need to see me that I'm still alive? What do you need? Tell me. And we went back and forth. And in the end, she told me that she needs to see me personally. But we managed to do it online because I was being a hard ass. So not a comparable experience. You're right.
Yeah, and this is also not consistent, because I had the same situation, and then I said, because I'm not here anymore and my branch is in Vienna, they said, oh, then send us a copy of your passport via email. So they are not consistent anyway. So they could do it, of course, via digital stuff. A question is about the Recono services. Should I just step into this, or?
Yeah, sure. Matej, Matej gave us a question. I'm just going to read it because I don't think that everybody sees this. Matej Gustiša says, regarding e-identity, what is the possibility of Recono services become obsolete? For example, if EU issues e-ID that is used for all online identifications and transactions. Thank you, Matej.
The answer is, it's a good question, but the answer is the other way around, because it's there is a standard from the EU. It's called eIDAS, electronic identification and for the authentication trusted services. And when you apply with this standard, the digital identities should be open to each other. So that means you could use the digital identity which you use for the bank also for others. And Recono is open, and this is the big difference, because of course we cannot have in each and every country or in the whole EU one digital identity, because this will be too monopolistic. So there will come up maybe banking IDs, maybe insurance IDs, but these have to be all interconnected via the underlying standards. And this is the topic that they can, and this is the advantage of Recono, for example. Yeah, and we see this, for example, in Austria the same. There is just the Austrian bank card delivering a bank ID, for example, but the government will take a different route here, for example, because they didn't agree to have only one here in Austria. So there will be also a fragmentation, but of course, the better it is that you have a holistic approach here, and that you have, at least these interoperable digital IDs which you could use cross-industry wise, because otherwise you have to have your 10 identifications. And the topic is that the bank has already most of your credentials, not usually, or all of your credentials, and the banks therefore are in a good position to deliver this. And this is also why we are working on this. But Recono is open for the eIDAS standard and to interconnect this. And also maybe when we talk about, Mark, you said about use cases, yeah, and it's about, for example, when I go to shopping in a grocery store, and that I, first of all, think how often the goods are tackled. They come transported from, imported from other countries to a distribution center, from a distribution center to the shop, from the shop to the regal, then to the shopping cart, to the cash desk, again to the shopping cart, then back into your car, in the fridge. This is, and the other topic is on the payment side. How I was born in a small town, and I went to my grocery store. They recognized me, say, "Oh, hi, Rainer, again you." That means, first of all, they recognized me because I was there, and you have to transfer this on a digital way. Secondly, they said, "Do you want the usual stuff?" So because they have known me in my old grocery store, they know what I usually buy. And then sometimes if I forget my money at home or my card, they said, "Oh, you can pay later." And if you transfer this to a digital experience, it means you're digital identified first. Then they know you to usually experience what you buy with your data. And then you have the options of payment. That means pay immediately, pay later, or pay before, as I said. And then you get a digital receipt later on. So this would be the exact user experience. And this is exactly happening what Amazon tries to do now with the Amazon Fresh stores.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to touch upon later, but maybe we should open this now. So no, it's good that you mentioned it. So we all know, we've all read the news about Amazon stores where you just go in, grab your stuff, the cameras, the sensors, they see what you took, you leave the store and you get charged, right? But for us here in Slovenia, that's something far away that's happening in the United States. But we've been talking about this earlier in the week. We have a recent example here right next door in Austria with Hofer trying to go the same route. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, it's Hofer or Aldi. It's Aldi Süd. They just 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, they announced that they will go for shops without the cash desks. So that means that the experience that you're standing in the queue, that you're then searching for your coins and everything is gone away. And they will start with the pilot country Austria. So this is not only a future in US or in Asia. This will become reality in our countries as well. And for sure, I assume when Austria is there, that Slovenia, which is usually even advanced here as Austria. I see it from Spar, for example. They have already a loyalty app out. So I think they will follow very soon, what I assume, but this is only my own speculation. But this will be the new reality, because it's, as I said, from the experience, it doesn't make sense that and especially Corona speeds this up also, because you're standing then in a queue maybe 10 minutes, which would not be even necessary, because you can choose your option and that you pay now, later, or before. And you can even, when they offer a stored value account here, you can even pay by cash there, because it's the other topic. Do we have no cash anymore? And I still think that cash will be there the next 10 years for sure. Yeah, so this is not an issue, because we still have 80% cash if you see our communities here.
When you compare Slovenia now, I mean, you've been here for well, not for a long time, but for some time. How do we compare to other Central European countries in terms of what we were talking about?
Yeah, I think we have to differentiate between rural areas and city. And if you look at the city of Ljubljana, city of Maribor, and so here it's pretty advanced. And if I, for example, look at the public transport, with the Urbana card, for example, you're much more advanced. In Austria, we don't have it, for example. So you have to look at it case by case. But on the payment side, for example, and that was also the reason why I came here, because I see the opportunity to build an Adriatic ecosystem, because we are in Europe much too small to reinvent the wheel in each and every country, and especially also the non-EU countries. They are adopting the EU standards already. So in Serbia, we have the so-called instant payment standard already. In other countries, like Kosovo, Macedonia, they are also adopting to it, Montenegro. So, and this could be a chance to build an Adriatic ecosystem where you don't reinvent the wheel in each and every country, and where you can then build on, like in the Nordics, because the Nordics are in this sense very advanced. They called it in the Nordics P27 for payments and 27 million inhabitants. We call it Adriatics or A22, or Adriatics and 22 million inhabitants. This could be a chance. But of course, there are political interests, and not everything is about the content, as you know. There are some topics where the countries want to have their own properties. But anyway, there would be a chance to do it much smarter and much more intelligent, because of course, and this is something which is here also, we have, especially also in the banks, we have big legacies which we have behind us. And to change these legacy systems, it's not easy. So sometimes it's better to build it from the scratch as to transform the big dinosaurs. Yeah. So, and this, we have to speed up. This is clear, because, you know, that we tend in our regions to discuss very long and not to do the things. Yeah. So, and this is something where Asia and US have a different approach. You know, they say there you have to try often and fail early, that you have the chance to improve yourself. Yeah. And this is also, I have talked with the Stanford Research Institute, and they have a methodology. It's called NABC, Needs, Approach, Benefits, and Costs, where they say we have to, you know, we always tend about to in our region to discuss about the how. Yeah, everyone is clever. Everyone is clever. How? Yeah, you can discuss for years, but they tend to discuss about the why we do the things. Are the things in advantage, in a benefit for a consumer, for a company, or for whatever? Yeah? And this why is a real necessary topic, and this try often fail early, because we don't improve, and we discuss for 2 years, then we implement for 2 years, and that's gone anymore. You know, if you don't take decisions now, you will lose 7 years of the cycle. Mm-hmm. And this will be crucial. We have to speed up and to connect the dots in a smart way, because in principle the basics are there, but you know.
Yeah. If we change the topic, but before we change the topic, there are people watching us here in this webinar. So you guys are all welcome while you drink your coffee to ask some more questions. Rainer is going to be happy to answer them. Or just comment on what he was talking about. We also are live on Facebook, so people, if you're watching, you can ask questions also on Facebook, and we'll try to answer them. Now, I wanted to touch upon a topic. You know, we're always talking about the digitalization in many different forms, but I sometimes think it's really funny how we as humans have big ideas, big plans, but we forget the basics. And when I talk about basics is now in 2021, having a reliable internet connection, getting good phone signal, cell phone signal, establishing a reliable internet connection, or you know, just getting your boardroom video conferencing system to work. Using your PowerPoint. You know, we still go to meetings and we're like, can you hear me? This doesn't work. I can't share my, those are the basics. You know, you would think that that's something that we take care of first, and then we go to the more complicated stuff. So my question is, are we ready for more if we can't even handle the basics sometimes? What are your thoughts on that?
It's a real good question. I'm personally just here with my apartment in the rural area, exactly the example. And and as I'm building my house next door here, I can tell you from my personal experience, because they are discussing about an internet cable, Glasfaser, coax cable here, but to get the subsidy from the local government, they need to have at least 70% of the community who are willing to have their interest for this. There is a survey since 2 years, and here in this community they need 300 interests for willingness, whatever,
Yeah.
Interestsbekundungen for this. And after 2 years, they have now 180. So,
well, 181 because you signed up as well, probably.
No, I'm already in the 180 in. So,
okay.
And imagine this. Normally there should be initiatives from the government that they do this from a holistic countrywide approach, because of course the communities in the cities have more money, and they are faster for this, but it cannot be that there is a difference between rural areas and cities, because, and I'm fully agreeing with you that that's a responsibility of the government to provide this basic infrastructure. It's like the rails, we need the rails that we can drive the wagons on it, and this is a big topic. We are speeding up, but it's for sure not there and Corona. The only good thing out of Corona is that it hopefully speeds up now, because we just had yesterday a survey here, because before Corona they talked about the home office, and they said 20% are willing to do this, or even 18, I think it was, and now it's 72, and that's a representative. And even they are for an obligation to put home office as obligatory. But what does this mean? We need to have this infrastructure ready, because otherwise you cannot fulfill these expectations. And this is for sure a big agenda for the governments, and I think they're working on it. But of course we have to speed up, because otherwise, and if you look at the businesses and now what will happen after the Corona, there will be many new processes, use cases coming up, and it could be easily done when you have a working infrastructure, and especially on the e-commerce. And here I see it in this region, e-commerce is really lagging behind. And we see the growth rates now in the e-commerce, which are significantly, but starting from a low level. And here, and also regionality could become something interesting. And if you look at the backbone from the economy here, I think SMEs, small and medium enterprises, are a really good backbone, and they need infrastructure, they need offerings, but they cannot do everything on their own. So they need the respective propositions to be more prominent, and this could be easily done, because you don't need 500 people to build this up. You can do it with a small team, and even if you find your niche, and regionality is also a topic after the COVID crisis now, this could be a big chance for many of us.
Rainer, do you have any good examples of SMEs in Slovenia that are really digitally advanced in this respect, and some others that are on the other side of the spectrum? And you don't need to name them by name, but maybe just industries where you notice that things are going rather well, and industries where you think, and I'm talking about SMEs, industries where it could be better and there's room for improvement. And if you have any specific examples, especially with the ones that are doing well.
It depends. It's always about personal initiatives here. That's the point. And of course, the automotive industry and the industry which are in the manufacturing side, they are usually much more advanced, because they have to have international partnerships. They have to have logistic supply chains where they have to interconnect with each other. And these are some good examples which you have here in Slovenia. On the other side, the small stores, look at the fashion industry, look at the bakery shops and all these, they will have an issue if they have not a proposition, because the big ones will swallow them. And this is the point, and they cannot, with a cost base which they have an issue. And this is something in Austria, unfortunately, there was just an initiative. They called it Kaufhaus Österreich. That was a platform for small and medium enterprises, but it was so badly developed, and this platform was launched by the by the government from the economics, that there was a big scandal out of it, because they wanted to compete with Amazon, and their user experience was so bad that they more or less now they cut it off. So there would be some possibilities to even provide these platforms as a white label platform from Posta, from Telecom, whoever, because they are an infrastructure provider. Even we could do it, but we are not focusing on this at the moment. And I think this could help the economy as well.
So Bankart is obviously closely connected to the banking industry. So let's talk about that for a bit. I want to ask you, how can digital processes make our lives easier when it comes to banking? And of course, I'm interested from the perspective of users, of customers, not on the perspective of the companies that are making the magic happen.
Yeah.
So can we talk about that for
yes,
a bit?
And I'm coming back to what I said at the beginning, because usually the bank, they should know everything in advance what I do, because they see my daily transactions which I have, and they know what I will do. They know exactly that I build a house because I'm paying my invoices, for example, to this. And if they do intelligent data analysis, they would know it. So this I would expect from them, that they give me these informations in advance. And if I call them, for example, or if they call me, that I have a connection that they already prepared with the data, and not that I have to explain all the story. This is one side where I still believe that they can do much more. I was also in my former life head of retail and digitalization in Sberbank Europe, and we have seen the Russian experience, what Sberbank Russia did, and they had more or less the vision that the bank is the assistant for life. That means that you can call the bank for each and every wish, like a concierge, and they should help you on this, and this is a much more different approach, because we are still in the mindset of some of the bankers that they still think that the customer has to come to them. And this I say as a user, because I have the same experience. And it's the other way around. The bank has to escort me my whole life, and usually, I was urged 2 times to open up an account. First, I was urged to open up an account by one bank to get my room in a student home. So that 30 years ago. Then I was urged to change my account because I was head of payments at Babak PSK, and they said you have to have the account with us. So this experience has to be changed dramatically. So that means that the bank could escort you your whole life and really assist you. And this, I think there is an opportunity, but not very long.
But what are we doing here in Slovenia to make that into, turn that into reality? What's your experience? I mean, you're in a difficult position right now to talk about your experience with banks, because Bankart is owned by the banks. So maybe it's not cool of me to ask you this question, but
no, but
maybe you can be general.
I'm open to this, and it also matters on personal responsibilities of the management boards, because some of them have great visions, but most of them are then stuck in the middle with the cost topic. And at the moment, and this is also driven by the COVID situation, that now everyone is looking at cost, and this will not help us. Because we have to create a vision, and we have to connect the dots in an intelligent way, and there are already ingredients here which you can use. But if you only now look at the costs, and you think that you're anyway clever enough to do all the things on your own, and this is the second topic about corporations. We have to cooperate in the future. The banks, insurances, retailers, telcos, they have to cooperate to create this experience for the consumer, because otherwise it will go to someone else. And this cooperation thinking is, from my perspective, still not at this level which it should be, because they're still thinking in the categories. And this is what I what I'm missing, not only in Slovenia. So this is around. It's in Germany the same, by the way. Yeah, and this will not help. Yeah.
This is maybe the last issue we can raise in today's talk, because we have about 5 minutes to go. You mentioned, cooperation, sharing data, sharing information for a better user experience. But that brings us to the topic of security. That brings us to the topic of privacy. It brings us to kind of the question that our Vida asked. She said, like, digital identity, how to trust someone you don't know and don't see. It's not closely connected to this, but still an issue of trust, an issue of security. How do we handle that? How do we convince people that they can be at peace, that their data is going to be handled appropriately and not misused?
Yeah, first of all, of course, everyone has to adopt who is processing this data. There are standards which you have to fulfill and the requirements. Yeah. So from my perspective, there need to be certifications, there need to be trusted entities, and there are anyway trusted service centers which have to comply all these standards. Yeah. This is the one topic. Secondly, the question is about which data, because I have no issue to share most of my data, because not my health data maybe, yeah, because this is very private, but where I live, who I am, what are my favorite topics, if you look at your Facebook accounts, more or less, you know anyway everything from us, yeah. So the question is, I would rather have the advantage from saving my time and becoming more precise offers, because from me, time is an issue, because if I have to explain to everyone the same topic in my shops, in my banks, whatever, I cannot save time. And this could be an advantage where we could use this much more. Yeah. But of course, trust is an issue, and these trusted service centers, and when they are certified, this is the topic. And but we have to be realistic, because how often do we go to internet pages where we don't know who they are, and we do it anyway, and here we are not so thinking in this direction. So we have to keep the balance. Yeah? It's because it's not 0 and 1, there is something between. Yeah. And it's always about, from my perspective, if I have a certification, a certified authority, if I know who is processing this, I can look at it, if I have the transparency. And of course, also in future, from the technology perspective, blockchain, from my perspective, will play a role in this, because on the decentralized infrastructure, there are no instances anymore who could misuse this data. This could be, from my perspective, also the answer in many fields, but we are not there yet.
Rainer, my last question. Imagine that I'm a pretty large goldfish and I want to grant you 3 wishes. It can be personal or professional. What would they be?
It's health. And because I have seen many friends passing away at the moment, even on COVID. It's empathy, that we are more empathic to each other, and third, that we are more listen to each other, because it seems that we are now living in this more and more egocentric world, and we should come much more to a community-driven world. This would be my wish.
Well, we came from digital to the basic human side at the end. So thank you, Rainer, for taking the time to talk with us. Thank you, everybody who joined us live on Facebook or here on the Zoom webinar. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have a lovely weekend. And don't forget to watch us next week on Friday, when the topic is going to be our partnership for change. I think it's going to be really interesting. And at the end, of course, I have to thank all of our patron members for being our patron members and supporting what we do here at AmCham Slovenia. So thank you again. Have a lovely day.
Thank you very much. Hvala lepa.